What's up, everybody? It's your favorite rookie's favorite nerd. And the reason why I say that is because I am just admitting this up front. I am way out of my league here. We're going to do the best we can, though, okay? But no need to tell me I'm out of my league. I already know. So this was given to me by a gentleman at NJCC. I'm pretty sure he said I'm really hard of hearing, and he was kind of quiet-spoken. His name was Angus, and he said, if I were to give you something, would you review it? I said it wasn't necessary, but that I would, and he gave me this. And I am very grateful because this toy is pretty amazing. That being said, there are a lot of moving pieces here. A lot. So we're going to do the best we can to try to capture what it is you're getting into with this. And we're going to start with these little guys down here on the bottom. They were on a sprue, and you take them apart and you put them together. There's plenty of sculpted details in there, and if you wanted to prime it and paint it, I'm guessing it would turn out great. That being said, they're just kind of in a lock position because they're just more so an accessory, a prop for display purposes for that fella. So, cool idea. Nice that they included two, I guess. I don't know anything about the lore or line of this thing, but we're going to do the best we can. This is Metalbuild. Let me put this back down. Just take a look at all this stuff that we got to talk about. And just tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. But this is Metalbuild ARX 8. And then a word I don't know how to pronounce. So we're going to get into it. Let's go through some accessories. You can take the head, move it down, move the whole chest piece a bit, which allows you to get full access to that cockpit in there, which you may not be able to see. Then you take your tweezers, which they include, and you take this little sculpted piece here, which is like a pilot. It's like it's like the bust of a pilot. And you sit him down. He actually pegs in to there's a little port and a little peg there, and he will peg into place to pilot it, and then you just have to close it back up, and now he's being operated. He comes with two of these, and they're like little holsters for knives, I guess, or swords, and you can open these up, swords, and then you can remove this piece. You can insert this piece, which is like the blade, and that comes down in like a key system, like a little lock and key, and then you peg it in, and then he can hold it with these hands. The hands are a softer plastic for the fingers, which should, in theory, use that. Now, the other thing that you can do, collapse it again on top of itself, even with the blade in. Take your figure, take this piece, open it up on his kneecap, and then you can insert this in, and now he's got little knives on his knees. Little knife knee. He comes with a shotgun that you can take the back of it out, and then rotate that up for like a, for his shoulder. And then you can take this piece, which is like ammunition, I would imagine, I'm not sure, and clip that in there. And then this piece here slides to lock and load the shotgun, which is pretty cool. He also can hold it in one of his many holding hands, and the finger goes around the trigger. In this style holding hand, he has left and right, and actually they're similar. He's got a bunch of similar weapon holding hands that look like they would all work. But as if that weren't enough, you can collapse it all and holster the shotgun on his hip. But I don't like it on his hip, you say? No worries. Take this piece off the back, plug this piece in, and I'm trying to think what they have. I don't think it matters. Good grief, Butterfingers. Plug this piece on his back, and then you can take the shotgun, open this up a little bit, and you had to pull this to the front. My bad. Put that in there. Clamp that down. Put that down. And now he's holding it on his back. So you have that option as well. Then we have this big Mamma Jamma gun. And he holds it just fine. One thing that is really cool, that I appreciate anyway, is that the trigger, like let me see if I can't. I'm not sure which hand is best to hold it. But it doesn't matter. To illustrate it, just this piece here rotates so that you can angle his hand in the gun, and it's like seamless. Now that's not all this thing does. This piece opens up and pulls back if you want to have that. It's not really supposed to in this mode, but you have that option if you like the look. And this piece here opens up, and then this piece maybe it's this way. Yep, I'm an idiot. That opens up so you can hold it like this. And then, as if that weren't enough, this piece right here is even designed for one of his little hands that you can attach to his chest to lock in and hold there. So he has 3 hands supporting the weapon. It's kind of brilliant. So close this up, close this up. You can bend this around, lock it in, and then you can have this piece come up and this hinge come up, and you can plug it into his shoulder, and then he can store it over his back. Now, you can also have it as like a shoulder mounted weapon. You can even extend the, depends on how absurd you want to get with it. This is on a tight double hinge here, so you gotta really work that one. But how crazy you want to get, you can get that crazy. It's an option. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. And it also plugs in to the extended shoulder as well. He comes with an extra clip for the big weapon, which is trying to focus, and they can actually marry up. I don't know. I think there's a way. We can split this apart, and then it kind of makes 2 weapons. And then we have to grab an adapter clip, which is this piece and this piece married together. And then that inserts in one shoulder, which will now hold, let's see, is it there? Maybe? Probably not. I don't know. I don't want to put too much stress on it, but it will hold there. And then you can also take this one, and using the peg that we talked about before, you can insert that into the other port, and now you've got 2 weapons on his shoulder. So that's pretty nuts. He then comes with 2 knives with different color plastics for the blade versus the handle, and 2, we can assume, grenade type things with like a silver paint at the top, and that he can hold in his hands as well. Now, some of the features he has is these pieces here you can pull out and then rotate up, and they're like, I guess, little weapons. I'm not sure. They're like maybe lights. And also, these pieces here open up for kind of a more dramatic look, and this has like a copperish gold finish on it on both shoulders. There's also something else. Yes, these here come out on this hinge system. It's a hinge at the base, so 1, 2, 3, 4 hinges, and they come down, and you can actually remove this piece, and if you want, you can replace it with this accessory, which is like a little claw hand thing, and it has a hinge here and a hinge there, so 2 hinges, and then this thumb operates off the same base hinge, so he has like little claw arms. This whole shoulder assembly comes off, it latches there. Let's try again. There. And then this part here slides forward, and this part in the back slides back. And then you got all like the detailing on there and stuff. So that's cool. Down here at the legs, you can push this piece, which exposes this, which is like some extra vents or something. Not really sure, but it's a thing. You can take the top of his head, open that up, which exposes a port. You can then take this hair accessory, which is a translucent piece with a little tab in there, and insert that for a ponytail look, and then that will swivel. So you take this piece here, and you can bring that down. I don't even know if I cut that part out or what, but then you take this and you plug it in. This comes down a little bit further there. And then this is on like a opposable wire, and then this has like a little clip, and you can clip this onto another thing, and it's just kind of an accent piece. I don't know what else you would use it for. It seems like that's what you would do, like clip it onto the gun or something. It just looks like wiring to the weapon. But you get 2 of these, one for each side. Both sides do it, and it's just another little cool little accent. So now we need to build the stand, and we do that by taking one of these and one of these, the curved piece on top, and then you take one of these marrying pieces. So you clip that to there, and then that to there, right? And then this goes in there. Perfect. So we'll do another one. This is already clipped on. And this. And we'll put it on. I just put it on the wrong side. That's what it was. There. And then we take this piece and this piece, and we clip these on. I just want to make sure I got the right thing. Yeah. Clip these onto here, and actually we can take this top piece and slide that in, and that clips onto there. Now we get to I'll tell you what, let's do this first. This clips in here. Why do I feel like that's backward? It doesn't. Yeah, it's gotta be like this. And this piece goes on, and then this piece caps it off. And then you take this piece, and that clips onto there. And now it's just a matter of arming it up. The knives, the blades for the swords peg in. Easy for me to say. The knives, like the sword holders, they go in here. There we go. And then both knives go in blade down in the back. Lastly, the 2 grenades sit up front. On the back, you can plug all the hands in, and it might make more sense to do this before you attach it. Your tweezers can actually hang here, and then you have these 2 things, and you just bend them and put them around there. You can have them probably sit nicer than that if you try. And then you take your shoulder pads, and I'll raise it up a taste, and you can clip them on to the top part, supposedly. There. You can plug in your strong hands and this little clip thing. That's eating me up right now. But there it is. Thought I was going to have to get a tweezers bag out. And there. You can then take these side armatures and open them up. Drop the gun in here. And that holds that. Move around to the other one. Take your hairpiece, sit that down in there, and close that. And that holds that. Take this piece and clip it on to your shotgun, and then you can clip that to that side. Whew! Almost done. I took the rod out of the center, so to speak. You can take this piece, slide that onto there, take your mech, and it has this notch there. That goes up in there, so to speak. And then plug it in, and he is safe and secure. Let's talk about the figure. We have orange paint, 2 shades of orange paint, and they're split up in different places. And then we have green eye paint that's done really well. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it is done really well. And then little silver detailings and everything else. And that is on a ball peg from the neck into the head. You get down to there, up to there, and then the swivel. Now, you can move the neck on a hinge at the base of the chest. This is, you know, as we know this is for by this point, I think. I'm not sure what order I'm showing this in, but, you know, you can also use it for articulation purposes, even though it's not necessarily intended for that. And then this piece slides back and forth to kind of cover it up to hide the sculpt. Pretty impressive. Then we have, it feels like a double hinge. Yeah, it's one hinge here and one hinge back here. So you get an ab crunch to there. This piece articulates so that you can, you know, get it out of your way. And up to there. So that's pretty impressive as well. There's also a swivel at the base of the abdomen into the hips. It's not an extreme swivel, but it gets you everything that you could possibly want, I believe. For the detailings, we got some red paint and some different color. I think it's paint. It's hard to tell because some of it is casted and there's so many parts to it, it's hard to see what's what. But plenty of little writing and stuff, including his name and all sorts of stuff. Really tight letter work that's done throughout. I mean, even on the back here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not, but all that in there is little lettering, and it's all really sharp, insanely so. Okay, so we have universal joints for shoulders. Let's back out. And that gets you up to there. These are on their own hinge, the shoulder pads, which still have the same detailings and different accents. Up to there, and then the swivel around. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow getting you the full Monty. To a wrist, which is on a ball hinge. So you get up and down, and then you can swivel it and get in and out. And that's all fine. Same for the other side. Oh, and there's a sideway hinge. I don't even think it's a sideway hinge at the bottom too, which I didn't even notice when I first looked at them. Fairly superb. You got back hip flaps that can move out of your way a bit. And then you have universals down here, which gets you up to that angle. And out is fairly limited. Not extremely limited, but fairly limited given the range of everything else. The thigh swivel is built into the bottom of the universal, and that works fine. And then you get a double jointed knee, getting you a great range. And then you have the same sort of paint and detailing as the orange paint in there. All the paint is done extremely tight. It's sharp as a tack. And then you have the knee pads. They're on their own double hinge, I think. Maybe it's just a single hinge. There's a hinge at the base here. I thought there was one at the top too. Hard to tell. So they can get out of your way for posing. For the ankles, you have a toe tilt down. You have another toe tilt up. And then you have an ankle tilt down to there, up to there, and then the ankle rocker is built into a hinge at the base of the foot. So articulation-wise, it pretty much has everything you could possibly desire in your little hearts. And before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about the weight of this guy, and it's 0.72 pounds, and he's a hefty boy for his size. And speaking of size, since we don't really have a collection to show him with, to the tip of his little thing there, so to speak, oh my god, 8 inches. Final thoughts wise, I'm really trying to see if I have anything negative to say about it. I'm not sure that I do. It's very involved. There's a lot of moving pieces, but that's not really a negative. That's kind of like part of the gimmick of this toy. It's like, it's a selling point. It may be too much for some people. I think that my biggest issue with this is that I just don't have any connection to it outside of the fact that it was a gift, and by which case I'll be, definitely it means something to me now. But I mean, having a connection to it, it's not really there. So, I would love for a company like this. This is Bondi, and they make great stuff. But I would just love to see some Transformers done on this level. I just have so many nice things to say about it. I don't want to dump them all here, but I'll say a few. It's really it's breathtaking. It's spectacular in its own right. And for as many dainty elements of it that there are, nothing feels fragile. Nothing feels like it's gonna break. To put it in perspective, this doesn't really have any dainty elements to it, and this broke, and this feels like it does have dainty elements, and it feels super solid and secure. I think the most negative thing I can say about it is that the review was challenging, and I'm not sure I've fully recovered from it.
Pegs and slots and hinges and swivels and this moves and swords and guns and clips-ons and attaches and marries up and sorts out and plugs in, and it's just too much. It's too much.
But seriously, I wanted to show them all armored up before we get out of here, and that's with the knee knives and the shoulder arsenal and the mega cannon and all that kind of stuff. His shotgun's even tucked around back, and it's spectacular. It's really, really, the joints are great. The articulation overall is pretty much perfect. Every little accessory has a place to be stored that makes sense for the display of the piece. The paint is sharp. The materials are fantastic. It's just a well put together thing. If you like giant robots, I definitely recommend this. If you're a mech person, I definitely recommend this. If you're like me, no matter how cool this thing is, it's never going to quite scratch the reason why you're collecting, because it doesn't call back to something from your childhood. But if you are just a toy connoisseur or a mech connoisseur or anything like that nature, I highly recommend this. And I can't thank Angus, I believe his name was. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Please forgive me. I'm really hard of hearing. Ask my wife. She'll tell you. She thinks I'm actually more hard of hearing than what I actually am. I just think she speaks quietly. And, not for nothing while we're on the subject, I feel like she'll she's upstairs right now, so I want to kind of use my low voice, but I kind of feel like she'll say the unimportant things louder than the important things just to get me in a trick bag later on down the line. She was like, I talked to my mom yesterday, and she's in good spirits, and my dad is doing well too. And by the way, Thursday, I need you to pick the kid up from school at about 4:30 because she can't miss the bus, and if she misses the bus, you're going to pick her up, and then make sure that you could just get that done for me. And I'm like, that's the part you... Anyway, doesn't matter. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.